1945. They all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. They say the prisoner of Spandau was a symbol of defeat. Whilst Hess remained in prison, then the fascists they would beat. So the promise of an Aryan world would never materialize. So why did they all come out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died? The world is riddled with maggots. The maggots are getting fat. They're making a tasty meal of all the bosses and bureaucrats. They're taking over the boardrooms and they're fat and full of pride. And they all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. So if you meet with these historians, I'll tell you what to say. Tell them that the Nazis never really went away. They're out there burning houses down and peddling racist lies. And we'll never rest again until every Nazi dies.
Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. The invasion had begun. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. But I feel my time has come. And if I die here for the resistance, oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. And if I die here for the resistance, you must lay me in my grave among the flowers upon the mountain. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Among the flowers upon the mountain, let me rest among the brave. Someday the people will pick the flowers. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Someday the people will pick the flowers and they will remember my name. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of our resistance and those who died for liberty.
From all of you good workers, good news to you I'll tell of how the good old Union has come in here to dwell.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
My daddy was a miner and I'm a miner's son, and I'll stick with the Union till every battle's won.
Hello there, everybody. I was definitely on mute, so shut up. You couldn't hear me clicking and rustling and things. You couldn't. It's not true. I disagree. I disagree entirely. Anyway, how are we all? I'm very well. Thank you for asking. Yes, I'm going to be on with the turning point lifts. So should we do that? Should we go and do that, shall we? Yeah? I'm doing newsy news. Yeah. 1 second, everyone. Did you open some Pringles? I heard a pop. No? I don't know what you heard. It might just be me sitting down. Maybe. I don't know. Either way. Allow this time, I suppose. Yes. Where the fuck is Beadle? Well, I'll be on camera shortly. I can't be asked explaining it every single time I go on this, but yeah. I'll be on camera shortly. Just chill.
It's the main man.
Wagwan, brethrens.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
You've got no audio, whether it's there, but it's...
I can hear something, but it's not.
Hello?
That's
Whoa,
better.
bloody hell.
Okay.
Hello!
Oh, sorry.
We can definitely hear you now.
Hello.
Hello.
Is that supposed to be ASMR?
Oh, there's a tweet going around from 20... Back Andy Burnham for Labour leadership.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, from
funny.
2015. It's the Camden New Journal. I don't even know if the link still works. Let me have a look. No, it doesn't. The link doesn't work anymore. But yes.
There's a isn't there like there's a tweet from like Sky News which is like Keir Starmer resigns, but it's obviously resigned from Corbyn's cabinet, and people keep fucking tweeting. And now and again I see it, I'm like, it fucking gets me.
He's never going to resign. He'll have to be forced out.
You're in. You can hear us. Well, apparently he said he's gonna. He'll stand against Wes Street, and if he does do what he's.
Yeah. Well, again,
Did he say that?
I predicted
well,
that.
Apparently, allegedly.
You'll have to fucking get him out with a crowbar. They're going to find him like fucking Saddam Hussein in a bunker underneath Downing Street.
Whether or not it happens, though, we will see. We all ready to rock and roll?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brill, sticking the countdown on.
But it's basically just like every day is a countdown to him probably resigning. Or you think he's not even going to resign?
I don't know. Well, unless he loses the leadership election, which technically doesn't mean he has to resign as Prime Minister, but realistically is a fait accompli at that point.
You can be Prime Minister and not be Labour leader, is that right?
Yeah. Oh, like, exactly. You don't have to be the leader of any party. You just have to be a parliamentarian. Not even elected. You could be a member of the House of Lords, technically. What was I going to say?
Know that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, yes, in theory, although that wouldn't work in practice, because it would be the same problem as when Cameron was made the bloody
Foreign Secretary.
Foreign Secretary.
Yeah,
He couldn't
yeah,
do
yeah.
anything from the House of
Well, exactly. Yeah.
Like,
In the
like
21st century, it's impossible to imagine. But you've got to bear in mind, up until the 20th century, most of them were members of the House of Lords.
Better that way, wouldn't it?
Much better. Fantastic. Completely unelected. Even the dickheads elected in rotten boroughs weren't trusted to become the fucking First Lord of the Chancellery. Brilliant.
I mean,
Universal suffrage is so overrated.
PMQs would be a bit interesting without the Prime Minister.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. Yeah, like you say with Cameron, having foreign ministers' questions when the foreign minister can't be there is.
Although I also think that's a bit silly. I mean, he's literally in the next room. Of course, he can be there. It's just pomp and nonsense that he can't be in the same room because he's a lord. Like, just put him in the fucking House of Commons and let him address the MP.
Okay, if you don't want him in the same room, what you do, you open the door and he just stands in the doorway and shouts his answer. Like,
That would be good.
yeah. Or give him a microphone, give him a lapel mic and he can just answer from the
This is
doorway.
21st century. Give him a little road mic.
Yeah.
Oh, like when.
Or make him do one of those YouTuber thing where he's got like one of those little mics on a piece of paper, and it's just like, yes, we enjoy killing Palestinians. Actually, it's fine. Shut up. That sort of thing.
20 seconds and then some. see Leo's comment. 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds.
Hello and welcome to Normal Islands Live. I'm really excited because I'm joined by the main man, Kevin Logan. Kevin, how are you?
I'm very well, and all the better for having your cheeky little grin around, mate. It's lovely to see.
Cheeky grin. I don't know. I had a cheeky grin. I thought I had quite an innocent smile. But
You do. You have a delightful combination of animalistic manlyhood and
Bloody
boyish
hell.
charm.
Christ, I didn't think I was going to get so charmed today.
I
It's
am.
about politics. I'm melting.
Well, talking of melters, where's Streeting? We'll get onto it.
That is our top story tonight is literally Streeting versus Starmer. I cannot wait to talk about this with you, Kevin. I know you're going to have some absolute zingers. Of course, tonight's show is going to be that. We're going to be talking about all the Labour Party, basically, and whether Keir Starmer's going to stay on. We're also going to be discussing inter-right-wing fighting. Nigel Farage has threatened legal action with Ben Habib over his claims on Farage taking money. And, of course, we're going to talk about the fresh attacks on Zach Polanski. Apparently, he lives in a £2 million house. And, of course, the council tax scandal, supposedly. Please stick around for that. Before we go on to our first story, though, as ever, if you like our work, then please support us by going to turnleftmedia.co.uk/support to help fund our work. Or you can become a YouTube member for just 99p. But on with the first story. It has been reported that Health Secretary Wes Streeting is planning to resign and trigger a leadership election in a bid to replace Keir Starmer. Streeting was seen coming out of Downing Street after a 16-minute meeting, apparently calling on Starmer to resign, as he said his authority has irretrievably ebbed away. If he were to run, he would need the support of 81 MPs, and given that already 100 MPs have called for Starmer to resign, it seems likely Streeting can get enough backers. Now, what would a hypothetical Streeting Prime Minister look like? Well, let's take a look at a couple of polls to see how popular he really is. So if Wes Streeting led Labour into the 2029 general election, Labour would drop down to 15% and Reform would surge to 32%. Now, no, of course, this is compared to the 2024 election, not where the Labour Party stands now, because since then, Labour under Starmer has lost huge support. But a Streeting-led Labour Party doesn't show the party changing its fortunes. Let's take a look at another poll. For potential Labour leaders, Andy Burnham is top with a rare positive rating of +6. Wes is all the way down to -22. He's not the most unpopular candidate, though, although it's expected. Ed Miliband will be one of the lowest since, he already fought and lost a general election. But this next poll is probably the most important as it's among Labour members. And if you can't get past them, then he'll never be Prime Minister. So according to Survation, unsurprisingly, Andy Burnham is miles ahead. First preferences on 42%. With second, it means he would automatically win. However, he won't be on the ballot, where Streeting would only get 11% on first preferences. Adding in second and third, he'd win 33% of members. Not enough to win in this specific matchup. Now, I don't think there's a current poll on a Streeting versus Starmer matchup with Labour members or the wider public, but this from February could give us an insight. So polling from Labour list shows Starmer would defeat Streeting 52% to 30%, with 28% unsure. Now, this is back in February before the Peter Mandelson scandal and the local election results. A contest between Starmer and Streeting will be two unpopular candidates, especially when it comes to Streeting's performance as Health Secretary. People are not satisfied. NHS staff are not happy. Only 22% say he's doing a good job, compared to 53% who say he's doing a bad job. 66% say Labour are doing a bad job handling the NHS, with only 24% think they're handling it well. Norwich Labour MP Clive Lewis went on Politics Joe and gave his view on Wes Streeting, and he's not a fan.
He's part of the faction The Peter Mandelson, Morgan McSweeney, Peter Kyle, Steve Reed faction, the Liz Kendall faction.
At time of record, which is around 50 MPs who have.
And most of those are probably West Streeting's people.
Do you think really?
I know.
When you say they're Wes Streeting's people, do you mean that the way?
Not all of them.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but are these sort of like the Morgan McSweeney configuration of the Labour Party 2024 intake? Are they just being transposed into Wes Streeting?
So it's complex, and I couldn't say that I knew every detail and every nuance of who it was, and it is complex on their side. Many of the kind of Labour first, Progressive Britain types have up until recently, up until the local elections, been split between whether they opt for Wes or whether they opt for Starmer. Obviously, for a long while, people who were on the inside track, people like Morgan McSweeney, were slapping Wes down publicly because they thought he was getting too fresh, being too quick, and also endangering their position. So there was a split there. But I would say, from what I can tell this week, that split has kind of dissipated. I think that I hear that a majority of the members of that part of the Labour Party, the right of the Labour Party, are now more fully believe that Starmer should go, and you would therefore conclude that many of them would want Wes to replace him as the kind of natural inheritor of Mandelson and McSweeney and their politics.
But also because perhaps the soft left aren't ready.
Yeah, because, obviously, look, it depends. If you go and speak to Angela Rayner, she'd say she was very ready, I'm sure.
I mean, he doesn't mince his words there. Kevin, okay, you're a Labour member. You have to vote.
Do not insult me. How dare you?
You have to vote, right? No abstaining. Would you vote for Starmer or Streeting to be the next Labour Prime Minister?
Oh God, can I not vote for Satan? Is Satan not on the ballot? I think I'd prefer him.
Well, he's busy, so.
Clearly he's running America right now. Look, they're both dreadful, is the answer. Essentially, changing out Wes Streeting for Keir Starmer is like changing out bowel cancer for throat cancer. It doesn't really make a great deal of difference. It's a slight different configuration, but ultimately the cancer will kill the body. The body in this occasion being the Labour Party. If Wes Streeting does become leader after all this, and I doubt that actually will happen ultimately, he will probably end up being the last Labour Prime Minister in history, because he will actually kill the party. Keir Starmer has done a very good job at putting that party into, let's say, palliative care at this point. Wes Streeting will be a continuation of that, because ultimately their political differences do not arise from differences of policy or differences of perspective or principle, because neither of them have any of those things. What they are is triangulation machines. They are rightist factional actors who will ultimately lead to the same problems that Keir Starmer has had, and will have the same outcome. Fundamentally, they're not different people, so you're not going to get a different result from this. What I would suggest to people is that if it comes down to it, there needs to be a third candidate of some variety. It's unlikely to be Andy Burnham, I think, because Keir Starmer is, it seems, very likely to fight whoever is the candidate. He's not going to step aside or resign as Prime Minister or leader of the Labour Party at the time. And so if it comes down to it, Wes Streeting and the current Prime Minister are very, very unpopular, both in the country and within the Labour Party, actually, because they're not particularly liked. And in the case of Keir Starmer, he just led them to political evisceration in the local elections, and is seemingly going to do so if he's there at the next general election, which seems phenomenally unlikely. But because Keir Starmer is going to run in that election, he's obviously, his control of the Labour Party National Executive Committee will block Andy Burnham again, as they did in Gorton and Denton, because they realise that he is the candidate most likely to defeat Keir Starmer in a leadership election. So why would they allow him to run? They're not going to do so. This is entirely a Morgan McSweeney Labour Together factional project. That's the only thing that matters to these people. So I honestly think, don't count out Angela Rayner. She is not necessarily that popular in the country, although she's more popular than either Wes Streeting or Keir Starmer, but less popular than Andy Burnham. But she is an MP, so she doesn't need to find a seat. We just saw Clive Lewis there, who was saying he's prepared to step down and let Andy Burnham run. Andy Burnham's not going to be allowed to run. Angela Rayner doesn't need to do that. She has more of a left left-coded political aura to her, which is something that I think the Labour Party realise they're going to have to lean into a little bit, but given that the Green Party are one of their major threats now, and they've just seen that they're not taking votes from Reform are not actually their direct competitor, it's the Green Party. So they're going to have to turn left to some extent. Even Keir Starmer, I think, realised that and led his ridiculous attempt at trying to save his premiership speech with nationalisation of British Steel, which sounds nice on the surface, but is one building in Scunthorpe, because the steel industry has been killed by successive neoliberal governments over the last 50 years. Anyway, don't count out Angela Rayner. I think she is the dark horse in all of this. And if it comes down to it, if it's Angela Rayner versus anyone but Andy Burnham, I think Angela Rayner wins.
I think Angela Rayner has a good shot, with the membership.
Yeah.
I don't see how she's going to be particularly popular Prime Minister. I mean, like, if she were to fight a general election, I don't know if she would win it because, and look, granted, a lot of the attacks against her have been like right-wing attacks, like quite sexist, quite classist. But there's obviously the actual left-wing critique too. But most of the attacks are in the mainstream have come from the right wing. She's not particularly popular. Andy Burnham is the popular one, but you're right. I feel like these so-called soft left MPs are delusional because they seem to think, oh, the internal Labour machinations, which was built by McSweeney, shut out Andy Burnham and Gordon and Denton. They're going to allow him this time. I think it's absolutely true, almost like the US Democrats, that the Labour Party would rather die or lose an election than move to the left.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the US Democrats would rather lose an election to Donald Trump than become like the Bernie Sanders wing, because whilst many senators and Congress people would be in opposition, they still have their cushy jobs, they'd still have their big corporate backers. Like, their lives aren't really affected. And if you're someone like Wes Streeting or someone who I say the right with the Labour Party, it's the same thing though. Like, if you're cushy, you got a decent like paid job being an MP, but you're well connected, you're getting lots of lovely donations. Like, your life isn't that bad in opposition.
Yeah.
So I think that would be the case.
Although, to be fair, he won't be in opposition because neither Keir Starmer or Wes Streeting will keep their seat after the next general election.
And I don't think it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
I think he can get enough MPs to challenge Starmer.
Yeah, undoubtedly, yeah.
Why would they pick Wes Streeting when even he knows, and the secret messages with Peter Mandelson, he was like, I think I'm going to lose my seat. You will. Liam Mohammed, granted the Greens don't run, and I don't think the Greens should run in that seat. Let Liam Mohammed take Wes Streeting on. One of my 500 votes. So I don't even understand why they're doing that. I wonder if maybe they're going to back him as temporary measures. So they get him for a few years and then they'll parachute him into another seat.
I was about to say, they'll parachute him into another seat because it would be too embarrassing to see a Prime Minister for the first time ever be voted out at a general election. So I think that's probably what would happen in that scenario. But I don't see it as, ultimately, I don't see Wes Streeting winning an election. I think even against Keir Starmer probably wins with the Labour Party membership, if that's the two-horse race that ends up being the one in question. But yeah, but ultimately,
it's a foregone conclusion.
I don't think it's a foregone conclusion, but I think Wes Streeting is not liked. I think it's obvious he's a careerist piece of.
That's true. That's true. And obviously, the poll I showed in February, like, that was very clear.
But yeah, exactly.
But that was before, though. Think about it. That was before the Peter Mandelson stuff and the local elections.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, yeah, that is true. But you've got to bear in mind, the Labour Party are... The only people left are briefcase melters who can see the vibes of Keir Starmer and think he's, like... they keep saying this thing about he's a man of integrity, even though he's the biggest bullshitter that's ever occupied that office. That's following on from Boris Johnson. He's literally worse at this point, as far as I'm concerned. Ultimately, though, nothing will change, regardless of whether it's Starmer or Wes Streeting. They serve capital... They serve rich oligarchs, they serve their private donors, and they serve Israel. And nothing about the King's speech today shows anything different, right? Literally, Keir Starmer's big plan to win around the electorate was to continue with the introduction of digital ID. Honestly, he might be less popular by the end, if he manages it, than arse cancer. I don't know. Look, is there anything in the world less popular?
Neck.
Yeah, like he honestly, a case of the clap would get the vote over Keir Starmer at this point. So he has to go, but if they replace him with Wes Streeting, as I pointed out, it's replacing one type of cancer with another. Either way, you're going to die. Angela Rayner isn't that much better, but at least has something of the common touch. Like, you have to imagine that she's going to be able to connect with the people of Sunderland far better than either of the two metropolitan London elitist gobshites of Keir Starmer or Wes Streeting. But either way, again, her politics aren't radical enough to really change, move the dial. Andy Burnham, again, it must be borne in mind, is a Blairite. Did vote for the Iraq War. Let us not pretend he doesn't have hundreds of thousands of Iraqi blood on his hands. But in terms of his sort of social democratic credentials, he's done pretty well in Manchester. The problem I think he would have is that even if he were allowed to stand in Clive Lewis's seat, that's in Norwich. He has no connection to that area. It would be an obvious case of carpetbagging and careerist opportunism, and the people of Britain don't like that. Added to the fact that he would be running for the Labour Party, which, as previously mentioned, is politically it was just eviscerated at the polls, and it's a relatively safe seat. But Labour don't have safe seats anymore. When you're losing 50 and 60% in heartland areas like Merseyside and Wigan and Sunderland, there's no safe seat for you. So I don't know that he would even necessarily win. I think he would have won in Gorton and Denton because he has a personal sort of following in Manchester. He doesn't in Norwich. So I don't know that even if he were allowed to run, he would win.
I find that strange. I mean, Norwich is most likely going to go green.
Yeah.
Polling showing that the Greens can win there. In terms of Andy Burnham and Angela Rayner, Rayner is someone, she's kind of a Miliband to me. She's like, I think her personal politics is way more to the left than she allows herself to be.
Yeah.
But she's not strong enough to stand up for that. Like, allow Ed Miliband, like, untethered, and I think he's a milquetoast social democrat. I wouldn't say he, hearts of hearts, he's a neoliberal. He acts like a neoliberal because he's a pussy.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah,
I think Angela Rayner is kind of the same thing. Yeah. And with Andy Burnham, you're right to point out that he was a Blairite. It's hard to pinpoint what he is, though, right? You could say he's a Blairite, but I think he's all things everything. He was a Blairite, he was a Corbynite, he was this, he was that. One thing I will always appreciate about Andy Burnham, though, is, and I know it's a low bar, when Jeremy Corbyn was leader, he didn't stab in the back, he did stick to his brief and he did support him. And again, I feel like he has actually changed. Now, this is not me saying that I'll be swayed back to Labour. I can tell you right now, fucking Jesus Christ himself could lead the Labour Party, and I won't be voting for them. Not after what they've done with the Palestinians. And
I was about to say, as a Palestinian, I don't think he'd be welcomed.
Exactly. But I think there's something here about Andy Burnham that he's left-coded, but he can have a strong social democratic vision, which can win the country over. Angela Rayner is, I feel like she's kind of left-coded in left-wing circles. I think ordinary people don't really know anything. Like, I feel like Burnham seems like that he has the King of the North sort of thing going on, and working class. Whereas, and again, I think this is sexism though. Even Angela Rayner comes from a working class background. A lot of people see her, and maybe because of the attacks, well, most exclusively because of the attacks, she's common. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And again, I think that's a lot of the right-wing media doing that. I think Andy Burnham can be successful. Question though, the Greens, right?
Yes.
I find this a really fascinating question. Would it be bad news for the Green Party if Andy Burnham became Prime Minister? Because I've noticed that the Greens have started briefing against Andy Burnham. They're saying the right things, by the way. It's absolutely true. He voted for PFI. He voted for the Iraq War. I think he was formerly a member of Labour Friends of Israel. Like, he's not a socialist or, like, your guy. There's better people out there. But the appeal for the Green Party right now is disillusioned Labour voters who are really pissed off at Labour and Starmer going to the Greens. I mean, if you're a Green person, you'd worry that you'd lose so much votes back to the Labour Party.
It could go one of two ways. Either, if let's say the hypothetical is Andy Burnham is allowed to stand, wins, gets into Parliament, runs and wins the leadership, becomes Prime Minister. It goes one of two ways. Either he's actually able to implement some of those same sort of social democratic policies that he had in Manchester, and the Labour Party survive. I still don't think, even if he does well, they can win the next general election from the position they currently are. But they would be able to survive as an ongoing political concern. They might even be the leader, the actual opposition party or something like that, would be a realistic goal for them. And that would be bad for the Green Party, obviously, because that directly eats into their political narrative and their political base. But I think what's more likely is that Andy Burnham would try and do those things. But he's going to have the problem of trying to get past social democratic policies past a Labour Party that was vetted by Lord Yum Yum. The 2024 intake, but the new MPs, yeah, exactly, were Mandelson vetted, rightist, Starmerite, McSweeneyite droids. They're not necessarily going to just fall in line and vote for something that they consider to be, the trot flee kind of policies. They're not going to necessarily like that or do that. And so I think he's going to find it very difficult to maintain a political coalition within the Labour Party that's going to be able to achieve those things in the same way that Jeremy Corbyn was, of course. And that party was actually significantly to the left of the current Labour Party in terms of its the Parliamentary Labour Party. And so in that situation, actually, the disillusionment with the Labour Party would grow even more, because you'd have some hope rekindled in the short term, only for that to then be snuffed out again. And it's the hope that kills you. And the it in this situation is the Labour Party, which would be killed by the extinction of that last possible hope for the Labour Party, which would be very good for the Greens.
I think Andy Burnham, who's quite popular now, if he becomes Prime Minister somehow, ultimately rejected to change the country in a slightly different way, he'll become unpopular, because it's the internal Labour machinations. I've got to leave it there, because we're already coming to 8 o'clock. This is an ongoing story. We might even do like a turn left Prime Minister watch, because we don't know how long Starmer's going to survive. But yes, we'll be keeping you updated on that. Let's go to our next story. Nigel Farage has threatened to sue Advance UK leader Ben Habib over claims he made about the Reform Party. So Farage tweeted, "My lawyers have formally written to Ben Habib. They demanded an immediate apology and public retraction for the baseless allegations he made today. I do not take legal action often, but I will not accept slander and politically motivated smears after winning a national election." Interesting. So what did Ben Habib say?
That he also paid Farage £1 million in November 2022. I have never said this publicly before, but now that we've discovered, this is the first time I've said this, Paul, but now that we've discovered £5 million went to Farage in 2024, I am obliged to believe went to Farage in late 2022 as well. And that smacks to me of a deal. The 2019 general election was sewn up between Nigel Farage, Christopher Harborne, and Boris Johnson. And it was a monetary deal. The other fact I think people need to know is that Christopher Harborne, he can sue me if he thinks that I'm lying. Christopher Harborne tried to break electoral law by hiding his identity when making donations to the Brexit Party in 2019. Now, I have said a number of things just now to you, Paul, which would end with me being, which should end with me being on the end of legal action from Christopher Harborne and Nigel Farage, if what I've said is wrong. They will not sue me, because what I'm telling you is the truth. And I wouldn't tell you if I didn't have the courage of my convictions. Okay, so what viewers may or may not know, I have touched on it in the past, is that one of the reasons Farage and I have not seen eye to eye has been money. And my first experience of Farage being in the pursuit of money rather than the pursuit of what's good for this country was August 2020, when Rupert Lowe, Robert Rowland, who's now sadly passed, and I took, at my cost, by the way.
Gentlemen,
Rupert and
this
Robert
is
also
Democracy Manifest.
As was Farage. I took them out for supper, and the three of us tried to press Farage into coming back into political campaigning. He hadn't done anything since 31st January 2020, when we notionally left the EU. And the reason we wanted Farage back on the campaign trail was because we could see Boris Johnson was about to sign a really bad deal with the European Union in what became the Trade and Cooperation Agreement. And Farage turned round to the three of us, and I remember Rupert Lowe laughing at the time. It was quite funny, because Farage turned around to me and he said, "It's all very well for you, Ben. You want me to come back and, try and put pressure on Boris Johnson, but you were born with a silver spoon rammed up your ass. I need to make money." I mean, I was not born with a silver spoon rammed up my ass. I think I mostly had my father's boot rammed up my arse when I was a child. But it absolutely set an alarm bell ringing in my mind that this is a crucial moment for Brexit, a crucial moment to take back control of the country. And this guy's talking about money. He ain't talking about what's good for the country.
A bunch of fascist slags.
I thought it was quite funny that he said, I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, and like his background just shows elitism, screams elitism on a channel that says ordinary voices. Big revelations there, or claims even. There was a unofficial pact between Reform and the Tories. Farage getting £1 million. I do find it funny that Habib said though that they're not gonna, well, he's not gonna sue me. He's not gonna sue me because it's true, but Farage has claimed he will. Now, this doesn't mean that Habib is lying, by the way. Often people use legal action as a scare tactic. But right-wing figures are all in on it, aren't they? I mean, they act as if they're different entities, but seemingly they're just working together. This is Rupert Lowe, leader of Restore, alluding to a Tory pact.
It's will of a tryst and illicit meeting. You met with Robert Jenrick. What was on the menu?
Well, look, Martin, it's a pleasure to be back with my old ex-MEP colleague from the West Midlands. It's been some time since there was an attempted political assassination attempt against me, which could have landed me in prison with no basis to it. But anyway, here I am. I'm in just getting a dose of reality down in the country and keeping my feet firmly on the ground and out of the what I call loony bin of Parliament.
At this very moment, Britannia
I had lunch with Robert Jenrick probably 3 months ago at my club, and I simply had lunch with him at his club. I've always said, since my political assassination, which was very clumsy and arguably somewhat unchristian, I have all options open. And I have to confess, I was not expecting to be politically taken out like a sort of wing forward takes out the scrum half if he can. But I'm now free. I've got lots of options open to me.
I'm free. I've got lots of options open to me. I've met with Robert Jenrick. It's funny because Jacob Rees-Mogg, I mean, they're the same, aren't they? Rupert Lowe says, Restore's different. It's taking on the political establishment, whatnot. Baloney. But he's doing deals with, or potentially, sorry, doing deals with the Conservatives, whoever. Now, speaking to Jacob Rees-Mogg, Lowe said that he wouldn't be overly harsh toward Tories due to an agreement.
As a result of which we've got a lot of one nation Tories. Not true Tories. I would be a true Tory if I was anything, not a one nation Tory. I promised not to call them Lib Dem Tories as part of my agreement, but so we won't call them that. But
a part of my agreement. What agreement is that? You can't trust any of these people. Kevin, what do you make of these pretty explosive allegations from Ben Habib?
I mean, the first explosive allegation is the idea that he wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth. For a start off, he went to the rugby school, a private school costing £20,000 per term. He was certainly born with a silver spoon in one of his bodily orifices. Which one, I couldn't possibly say. Ben Habib, like Nigel Farage and Rupert Lowe and all of this gaggle of right-wing scum, are dreadful people, liars, snakes, some of the most backstabbing bitches that has ever existed. And I'm including the current cabinet in that. They're awful, and I don't believe a single word any of them say. In terms of the particular allegations, it would not surprise me in the slightest to see that Nigel Farage has taken many millions more than we currently know about. He is being investigated for the 5 million that we do know about by the Privileges Committee of the House of Commons, so we'll wait and see if anything comes of that. I doubt it, because it's a rather toothless organisation, but we'll see. So Ben Habib might be correct, but unless he has evidence for it, he better lawyer up, because Nigel Farage could sue him for that. Even if it is true, if you don't have evidence for it, You can't say it's just an opinion, bro, because you're making a direct allegation of illegality. You need to be able to prove that. And I don't think he can necessarily. But it wouldn't surprise me if it were true nonetheless. So it could be that no justice is served to nobody and nothing good comes of it, and Nigel Farage becomes Prime Minister and starts earning the big bucks like his orange friend in Washington is doing at the public's expense. Yeah, they're all awful. They're all awful. Rupert Lowe, in terms of the supposed deal he has with the Tories, I don't think that exists. I think even Kemi Badenoch, one of the worst leaders of an opposition I've ever seen, one of the most ineffective, pointless, weird leaders of an opposition I've ever seen, and I'm including Ian Duncan Smith in that. Even she, at her most craven, I don't think would sully herself to cut a deal with Rupert Lowe. Why would she? He just polled even worse than she did in the local elections. Why would she lower herself to that? I don't think she would, and I don't think she has. I think it's all complete bullshit.
Well, what I mean, in my view, the way I interpret it, it's not like an electoral pact. It's a shady agreement to say, I'm not going to attack you. Like, the way I read that is the Conservatives and Restore are teaming up to stop reform. You know what I mean? So, like,
that could happen. I don't know.
Because this feels like a vanity project from Lowe, right? He was kicked out of Reform. He was really pissed off about it. By the way, he... I can't remember what happened. Allegations of bullying and potential using physical force against someone.
Yeah.
So he was kicked out of the party, and him and Nigel Farage have fallen out, and he started Restore. So I think this is just a personal vendetta. Yeah. And what more to ensue your personal vendetta is to speak to the, in terms of seats, bigger right-wing party, in terms of vote share, the smaller right-wing party. But the biggest threat to reform is the Conservatives and vice versa, is to have an agreement with them. I mean, I think to say on G News, I'm meeting with these Tory fellas, my options are open, to accidentally let slip out to Jacob Rees-Mogg, I can't be too harsh to the Tories because of my agreement.
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything to do with electoral pacts. I could absolutely see Kemi Badenoch, or maybe not even her, but people behind the scenes, are like, we really like that Restore's taking support away from Reform.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show, if this is all true, that people who look at Reform because they think they're anti-establishment and take on the Conservatives, that's rubbish, and more people are realising that, given that all the ex-Tories are going to Reform. And then people are like, well, okay, Reform's a sellout, Restore are the real people. But actually it turns out that basically you've got a bunch of right-wingers, 3 right-wing organisations, factions, but really they're just trying to stitch each other up because ultimately they end up they agree with everything. Like, I don't think Kemi Badenoch would ever kick out Rupert Lowe. I think he's a Tory. I think he's a fascist white supremacist Tory, but I still think he's a Tory.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately they're all Tories, and quite literally, if you look at Zia Youssef, Nigel Farage, Robert Jenrick, they're all ex-Tories in one way or another. So that they're all Tories to one degree or another, or in one vein. They're not necessarily the wet Tories, they're the One Nationers, or the true Tories, or whatever absurd bullshit they want to attach to themselves. The Restore Party is, like you say, it's partly a vanity project from Rupert Lowe. It's partly a kind of vindictive bunny boiler attempt to try and destroy the party that have wronged him, and so on and so forth. And so it wouldn't surprise me that he's been talking to like Tory backbenchers, and maybe one of them has suggested that he should be less harsh to them, and he thinks in his warped, twisted version of reality that counts as an electoral pact with the Tories, and that's what he's referring to. But I don't think that he's talked to any of the leadership and that they've actually cut a deal with him. I think he's just maybe had a drunken talk with a David Davis MP in one of the bars or something, and he thinks that counts as an election.
Could you imagine David Davis with Lowe there? I mean, I don't.
Well, I was
just a Tory, but he's like a liberal Tory. Isn't he?
Well, I was just suggesting just a backbench. Okay, Edward Lee.
Yeah, fair.
Would be a better example, I suppose. But whoever, so Mark Francois, perhaps. Some Tory backbencher who he's talked to, who he's friends with, because again, he's not that dissimilar to many of those kind of grog blossom scum fucks on the Tory backbenches. It wouldn't surprise me if they've discussed things and he's gone, well, I'll tell you what, I won't refer to you as Lib Dem Tories. And he thinks that counts as an electoral pact. And so he's just said that. And also, you've got to bear in mind, a lot of these people are self-obsessives. who want to big themselves up. So he's a bullshitter and a self-obsessive. Would it be surprising to suggest that he might make something up to make himself seem more important than he actually is?
I also noticed as well in that clip on GB News, he's very self-pitying. Oh, I faced all these political attacks and stuff. You really haven't, mate. You've had it pretty easy. But that is the ideology of the right wing, is to say we're the biggest victims.
Well, the Farage does this all the time as well, right? Like, oh, I need £5 million for security because I had a milkshake thrown at me. Like, he described that as terrorism.
2 MPs were killed.
Yeah.
And he's saying, I'm the most attacked MP. Again, milkshake doesn't kill you, and he needs £5 million. Obviously, that's a load of rubbish.
Yeah. And also, another aspect of this, we need to de-Yankify Britain. I think we've all accepted that, except the Reform Party, who want to re-Yankify Britain. And what more American a response to something happening than "I'll sue you"?
True. Also, talk about Yankification. Zia Yusuf won before the local elections. He called it the midterms. And I nearly smashed my head against the keyboard. I was like, stop this Yankification slob. The midterms.
Well, he literally...
Piss off. The sunglasses and a suit on a beach. Fuck off.
He was wearing aviators on the beach doing a, like, American-style, can you really trust Zach Polanski with this nation? Hypno-boob. I'm surprised it didn't end off with, I'm Zia Yusuf and I approve this message.
We're going to get that shit, by the way.
That's I know.
But guys, I don't care if you're watching. I don't care if you're right-wing. I don't care if you hate immigrants. Just don't vote Reform because I don't want midterms. I approve this message. And by the way, a local Reform council was looking at trying to bring prayer to local council meetings. Come on, let's stop this Yankification slop. Okay, let's leave that story there. We'll move on. Now, over the last couple of shows, our viewership has gone up. It's sort of dipped again tonight. So please remember to like the stream. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to us, but also hit the notification bell so you know when we go live and a video drops. We have content every single day. We put out clips and sometimes we put out reaction videos. We have interviews go out. We sometimes do Vox Pops. On Saturday, we're going to be covering the Tommy Robinson rally. So you literally get content every single day. So please make sure you hit the bell. Of course, if you want to support us, then you can go to turnleftmedia.co.uk/support to help fund our work. We also have a shop. If you just go to shop.turnleftmedia.co.uk, you can buy some merch. I'm wearing one of it now. I think we've got some hats, a beanie, t-shirts, of course, stickers, mugs, lots of stuff. And sure, there'll be more stuff coming in the future. We also have a Discord. Please can one of our kind viewers who's in the Discord link in the chat come along. I think one thing that's very unique about Turn Left is we have a really big community. We really engage in our community as well. Us Turn Left contributors are in there as well, so you can come chat with us. So please join our Discord. Okay, let's move on to our final story. Let's scroll down. Okay. The attacks on Zach Polanski, excuse me. Oh, Christ. I'll start again. The attacks on Zach Polanski are getting sillier by the day. A week before the local elections, the media went into overdrive to stop a Green Party surge. Well, the media stories attacking Zach obviously won't be stopping anytime soon. Now, this one is a real doozy. Taxing times. Zach Polanski staying at £2 million house after admitting to underpaying council tax for 3 years in latest blunder. Now, we'll get into the council tax stuff in a minute. But multiple outlets, including The Sun, LBC, and The Times, have reported on a £2 million house that Zach lives in. It has been revealed that Polanski is staying at the 5-bedroom property in the East London borough with Alistair Binney Lubbock, 40, according to The Times. Binney Lubbock is the leader of the Greens on Hackney Council and grandson of the late Liberal Democrat peer Lord Avebury. When asked whether Polanski lived at the Hackney property, a woman there initially denied, but then told The Times, sorry, yes, Zach does live here. Now, you'd think the media would be more imaginative than to recycle old Jeremy Corbyn attacks. Remember this? Corbyn shamed as details of £1 million neighbourhood revealed. Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn has been left red-faced after it was revealed his supposedly modest Islington home is in fact worth nearly £1 million. But this is the house Corbyn lives in. This is the £1 million mansion, right? A tiny house in London. But what makes the story against Zach even more ridiculous is that he doesn't own the house. He's renting. No, he doesn't own a £2 million house. He's renting a room, right? 5 bedrooms. He's renting with other people. I think it's him and his partner and other people. Because he presumably can't afford a house. And it's also in Hackney. It's in Hackney, a very, admitted, gentrified area. But London is very expensive. Have you not realised there's a housing crisis? Of course, the right-wing press won't ask questions about the ridiculous cost of housing. Kevin, even if Zach Polanski did own a house worth £2 million, would that really matter?
No. This story doesn't matter. This story doesn't matter in the slightest. I don't care about it. Zach Polanski, please stop apologising for things. You need to purge the inner Lib Dem within you, sir. Please, I beg of you. Stop apologising for stuff. People who want you to apologise aren't interested in apologies. It's bad faith actors acting in bad faith. Stop giving in to them, okay? I, on a personal, individual level, think he should have paid the tax on this houseboat. But it does appear that the houseboat situation is one of lack of enforcement, where I believe this council had, over the course of the last 30 years, had one houseboat ever pay any council tax. They're not enforcing it, so he didn't pay it. Okay, is that particularly great? Not necessarily. He should have paid his tax. Everyone else has to pay their tax. But I don't really give a fuck. And no one else does, really, either.
We'll come on to that in a sec. What about the house, please, Kev?
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah. So, in terms of the house, he doesn't own the house. He lives there with other people. It's in the middle of London. He represents a London seat, a London constituency, right, in the London Assembly. He has to live in London. London is one of the most expensive cities in Europe to live in. The idea that you could live in any kind of multiple occupancy house which would cost less than £1 million is basically impossible. It would have to be literally a matchbox to cost less than £1 million. So he doesn't own £1 million or £2 million house. He rents one with 3 other people, I think it is. This is a non-story.
It's crazy stuff. Look, okay, so the right wing press have always hit the left with the hypocritical angle, which is that if you're someone who's relatively wealthy, or to be honest, not even wealthy, but has something, right, has a house that's worth a lot of money, apparently you can't espouse left-wing politics. So if Zach Polanski turns out that he's quite rich, that means he can't call for wealth taxes. Well, that's crazy to me, because surely, first of all, that doesn't change the nature of the policy, but that means he would be calling on himself to be taxed more, which makes him more principled.
Yeah, it's the kind of shell game that the right-wing play, where the left can't win. Where if you're poor and espouse left-wing beliefs, it's because you're jealous of the rich. And if you're rich and you espouse left-wing beliefs, you're a hypocrite. Neither of these things is actually true. I'm all in favour of rich people acting in favour of the left. Some of the greatest people who have been on the left have been upper-class traitors. People like Tony Benn or fucking Clement Attlee or whoever were upper-class or upper-middle-class peoples who turned against their own class interests for the benefit of the British people. Literally, Tony Benn, of course, had to give up his lordship upon his father's passing. That's how part of the establishment he was, and said fuck that to that noise, and is a hero on the British left, of course, and rightly so. So yeah, I don't care particularly. This story is just such a non-entity, and again, we've said this when Zohran Mamdani was elected in New York, and I think we'll say the same with Zach Polanski. The fact that they're having to go after these basically non-stories like Hypnoboob or Riverboat Gate or whatever shows that they're actually pretty decent people. Because if there was any actual dirt there, they'd be going after it. And they aren't. The muckrakers are able to come up with very little against these people. In a time when we have best friend of Jeffrey Epstein being appointed to the House of Lords, but also to being the consular in the United States of America. Not the first,
you mean Mandelson, right?
Mandelson, indeed. Yeah, not the only nonce who was offered a consularship
true.
under the current government. When we have them being given huge amounts of freebies. When you have the potential future Prime Minister Nigel Farage, and it makes my skin crawl to have to admit that, but politically that is the case right now, being given £5 million by a crypto bro who then changes his policies to be in favour of the crypto bros. The level of corruption and malfeasance at the heart of British politics is so ridiculous that the idea that I should give a fuck about Hypnoboob or fucking the houseboat, get fucked. Get your priorities sorted. It's because he's on the left and he opposes genocide that means that he's just not one of the sensible adults in the room, and therefore he's absolutely fair game.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think it feels like the scandal of the £5 million of Nigel Farage is less prominent in the media than this council tax, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to speak about in a second. But yeah, I absolutely do not care if the left-wing leader of our time is extremely rich, as long as he's a class traitor. But what this is woke right identity politics, isn't it? It's like, well, you can't be left-wing because you've got to be poor. And the thing is, though, as soon as you're working class, you got GB News and Talk TV saying stuff like you're stupid.
Well, exactly.
Like, the way that, what we said about Angela Rayner, she is worthy of so many criticism, but a lot of it is like, oh, she likes getting pissed and going to nightclubs, and she dressed like shit in her accent. Stop being fucking classist.
Well, like, what do they want him to do? He lives in London. He represents a seat in London. Do you want him to live on a park bench? Because that's the only way you get under £1 million. Like, it's any actual residence you could actually live in London is going to cost a fortune. Like, and it's so absurd to do this. Like, someone made the joke, and I think it's a very pertinent one, that the average carriage on a London Underground tube train costs £1.6 million. So technically, Zach Polanski takes a £1.6 million vehicle to work every day. What a hypocrite!
Hypocrites. Let's go to the next part of the story. Now, of course, a more serious story is this claim. Green Party admits Polanski may have failed... Geographic level? Yeah. Green Party admits Polanski may have failed to pay council tax. But the story is far more complicated. The Green Party has admitted that its leader, Zach Polanski, has, until recently, been living on a houseboat in London and may have failed to pay council tax. In a statement given to the BBC, a party spokesperson said Polanski had taken steps to pay any tax he may be fined. They added, Zach apologises sincerely for the unintentional mistake. Polanski has been under pressure to explain whether the houseboat moored at a marina in East London had been his primary residence. A Waltham Forest Council spokesperson said it was assessing and taking legal advice over complex factors unique to moorings. So council tax and houseboats are extremely complicated, right? It's not like housing where paying council tax is obvious, right? A houseboat often moves. I think a lot of people have been saying, well, Zach Polanski called on Angela Rayner to resign over her not paying the correct council tax. The difference here, though, is like it's very obvious when it comes to housing. So obvious. But of course, you know, when it comes to houseboat, it's very different. Now, tax legal expert and Labour member, by the way, let's make sure to mention that there, Dan Needle, went in on Zach on this story. So Needle created a tweet thread of his investigation. Zach Polanski and his partner called their narrowboats their amazing home for 3 years. He registered to vote there. If it was his main residence, council tax was due. None was paid. His team says he stayed there only occasionally. If true, there's a very big problem. It's kind of obvious there will be council tax if you're living on a boat. That's the way the law works. So Dan Needle seems to think it's a really obvious thing that you do that. But not only that, in a really odd move, Needle even contacted a local laundrette. A local laundrette collected Mr. Polanski's laundry every 2 to 3 weeks, and local sources have told us that it was an amount of laundry suggesting regular occupation, not just occasional visits. Now, really a way to hold power to account by going to a laundrette, right, and finding out what's going on. And by the way, going to a laundrette every 2 to 3 weeks. I mean, people do their washing every other day, if not every day. To me, I don't know if I'm wrong. I've never lived on a houseboat, but that doesn't seem like a sign of regular occupation. Although Needle said it was obvious that you have to pay council tax to houseboat, and despite doing a BBC interview talking about this, where the BBC didn't mention he was a Labour member, the next day he admits that basically his investigation falls apart. That's the way round I meant. My point is that both the councils and big organisations like Canal and River Trust and Lee Valley Regional Park are fully aware of this issue, but chose to ignore it as it suits everyone involved. Do you ask the Lee Valley Regional Park how many leisure moorings and how many residential moorings they have? My best guess is that they are making hundreds of thousands of pounds a year renting moorings as leisure when they know are being used residentially. For CRT, it's likely millions of pounds a year. That was from Paul Powsland. And Dan Needle replies and says, I had no idea this was a thing before we started looking into it. But all the replies I'm getting from boaters make it pretty clear you're right. So before he did his deep dive, he didn't get all of his facts right. Okay? And even admitting there was an enforcement error, which all but one resident of a houseboat at that marina, only one boat ever registered for council tax in 35 years. So Zach didn't know if he had to pay, which, by the way, he is now paid. Kevin, I feel like I know your response because you kind of mentioned it earlier, but was Zach right to apologise?
See, now you've said that, I want to be contrarian and say the exact opposite and say he should resign or something, just as a joke. Look, this is a nothing burger. This is an absolute nothing burger. The comparison between his call for the resignation of Angela Rayner, and he said Andrew Rayner, that's a different thing. Angela Rayner was that she at the time was the Deputy Prime Minister and with the dual brief of the Housing Minister. So she was the Housing Minister who didn't pay council tax when everyone else has to pay council tax on a static home, because that static home is made of bricks and doesn't move along water. So obviously the jurisdiction of the local council means you have to pay council tax in that particular jurisdiction, rather different than the moving boat principle. Anyway, this is a nothing story. I don't mind him apologising for this one as much, because this is a genuine oversight on his part. And like you say, it has been rectified. He has now paid the amount of council.
I don't think he has paid it yet.
Has he not paid it yet? Sorry, I was under the impression he had. But either way, he should pay the council tax that is due on that. And yeah, I don't mind him apologising so much, because that is wrong. If you're due to pay council tax and you don't, that's wrong. That I think is undoubtedly the case. I didn't actually think necessarily that Angela Rayner necessarily had to resign either. Again, I think that was something of a ginned up classist thing, but and regionalist, of course. In the way that Boris Johnson taking millions of pounds for wallpaper was fine, but not paying a few grand in tax was too much. It's the hypocrisy is glaring from the right wing. Zach Polanski needs to learn ultimately, though, to stop apologising for things. Not because apologies are necessarily bad, but because there are some things for which one ought to apologise and some things which one ought not to. And secondly, to realise that the people seeking that apology do not care for the apology and will not accept it. We saw that with Hypnoboob. He came out and said sorry, but the Labour Party right still attacked him for it and said your apology is insincere, or it's too late, or it's this or it's that. They're not interested in the apology, so don't lower yourself to it. Don't accept their framing and narrative of the story in question. Stick to the line of we're taxing millionaires and billionaires, we're fighting on behalf of you. Talk past the bullshit to the country. Talk to the people about the things that matter to them. Don't talk to the media and the journalist class who only care about weird West.
Should stop apologising, and whether you think he should apologise on the council tax stuff, just treat the media like utter dirt that it is. He had a really good answer when he was on with Ed Balls. He said, this is why people hate the media. I want to see that veracity every single time.
Yeah.
The Mamdani effect, where you go, ignore that anyway. Public ownership, wealth taxes, blah, 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 blah. Because ultimately, no one trusts politicians.
Yeah.
No one likes politicians. And you don't need someone to like you to vote for you. Ironically, it's really weird, right? Because Farage, for example, right? People know he's an arsehole. They'll vote for him because they feel like, oh, it's going to change the system or whatever. If you communicate your policies and people like your policies, I think a lot of people, obviously if Zach does something really, really bad, like accidentally kills someone's dog and refuses to apologise, I think people should apologise then, right?
Okay.
But generally, if people are in favour of your policies and you haven't done too bad, right, I don't think it matters if people think, oh, I'm not sure I quite like that, Zach, but do you know what, I'm voting for the Greens anyway. That's fine.
Also, you mentioned Ed Balls. I think you mean Mr. Yvette Cooper.
Mr. Yvette Cooper. Yeah, this sexist whitewashing of Ed Balls, who's just a stupid GMB host. And actually, Yvette Cooper holds one of the highest offices in the land.
Isn't Ed Balls that guy from Twitter? I think so.
Yeah, he somehow tweeted his name.
Interesting.
But I loved how Zach Plancy massive smackdown on him.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Keep pointing out that the media are hated. But again, doing that. Talk past the media. Bear in mind, you've got a microphone. They're giving you a platform. Talk to the nation. In the same way that, like, I mean, this is a very personal thing, but when you debate against, like, a right-winger, like when you go on with GB News or whatever, right, don't talk to the GB News wankers. Talk to the nation. You're being given a platform with which you can communicate with people who oppose you, but in a way that is hopefully will bring them some extent to having a more accepting view of the way in which you want the country to be, or at least not oppose it in quite the same visceral fashion. And I think that's a worthwhile endeavour. And he obviously has a much bigger platform. He gets to go on, the national TV and in front of Mr. Yvette Cooper and all the rest of it, and tell them to their faces that they're wankers. And the media are hated, universally, virtually despised and not trusted. And so pointing that out to the nation, I think, is a worthwhile endeavour in of itself. But also keep on banging on the point. Do the Bernie Sanders thing of even when you're asked about something else, say the millionaires and billionaires want you to ask that question, and I'm not going to fucking play your game.
Yes. Oh, I think Kevin should be like the one of the comms people in the Green Party, because I really
don't think so. I don't think that we need to give the media any more ammunition.
To be fair, as much as I love you, you could definitely bring down a Polanski leadership.
A bit of a digital footprint that would be problematic. Yes.
True. Okay, let's leave that there. And let's go to our comments. Our producer Callum Taylor is with us. I'm sure we've got some fantastic comments.
Callum!
Hello, we always do. Just before we go to the comments, though, I've just got some updates. Firstly, just on that last story. So, a spokesperson for Waltham Forest Council has told The Telegraph, this is where the narrowboat was moored, we are making assessments and taking legal advice on several complex factors unique to moorings at Springfield Marina, which is located in the Lee Valley Park. They say for residential moorings in the marina, a statutory exemption for council tax would apply. However, we understand that these are not residential moorings, but what it sounds like they're saying there is that if they were residential, then a statutory exemption would apply. So that would mean that if it was a residential mooring, you wouldn't have to pay council tax anyway. And obviously, leisure moorings pay council tax, but they move around.
That's why I didn't want him to apologise, because it could literally turn out that he didn't have to pay it. And now he's like, they've also
said we are working with Mr. Polanski's team to establish the full picture. At which point we will be able to determine whether or not there is any council tax owed to Waltham Forest. So it seems that the Waltham Forest Council themselves don't yet know if Zach even owes them any council tax, which is
what that does
I thought was
though,
interesting.
it just shows the irresponsibility of the media, because they're literally saying we don't know if he owes council tax, and you've literally got media saying he's dodging taxes.
Yeah.
Like, there's such fucking scum.
Also, there is a matter of privacy as well, because this is not publicly available information.
I'm going to come to that.
Someone at the council leaked this shit.
Yeah, someone's mentioned that in the comments, which I'm going to come to in a moment. Just before, though, I just want to bring some breaking news on the downfall of Keir Starmer. A couple of bits of information. So, the Times are reporting that Andy Burnham will reportedly try to stand in Manchester Rusholme for his return to Parliament. This comes after news earlier on today that said that Andy Burnham allies were claiming that Andy Burnham had found an MP to step down so that he could return to Parliament and challenge Starmer for the leadership, and that apparently there's an announcement coming tomorrow. It seems that Andy Burnham's team are waiting for Wes Streeting to call for a leadership race, at which point, presumably, a by-election will then be called in Manchester Rusholme. Whether the timings will work out, we'll have to see. What's interesting, just quickly, sorry if I may, Kev, what's interesting, though, is that the current MP in that seat is Labour MP, Afzal Khan, and he hasn't explicitly denied the rumours tonight. When asked this evening, he said, at the general election, the people of Manchester Rusholme put their trust in me to represent them in Parliament, and that is the job I am focused on doing. But what's really seats in the general election, and not only that, I've actually had a comment from a Green Party source while we've been on air, who has said that Manchester Rusholme is even more winnable for us than Gorton and Denton. We won every ward there last Thursday. If Khan resigns, we will campaign to win. Just thoughts on that.
Well, firstly, why does there have to be a by-election? What about a gay or straight election?
True.
Outrageous.
They're erasing the straight people.
Exactly. This is straight erasure. Outrageous. Yeah. Look, as I pointed out in the actual show, that him standing in Manchester would be better for him because he has a personal following there. But that there are no safe seats for Labour anymore. Yeah. And as was pointed out, I didn't know that every single ward in that seat had been won by the Greens. But to fight an election on those grounds weeks later for the parliamentary seat, even with Andy Burnham's personal following, if the Green Party really go for it, they could win that seat as well. I don't see it as a fait accompli that he gets into Parliament either way. That's assuming the NEC even allow him to stand, which isn't guaranteed.
Well, but I think the Burnham question makes it very difficult for the Greens. Like, I think if it was just another briefcase Labour MP, the Greens would win that seat easily. But I do think the Burnham question makes it very, very difficult. Yeah. Well, and I suppose do the Greens want to throw everything at it and then lose? Or
I said during Gorton and Denton that he was the only Labour politician who could have won that seat.
Well, listen,
I think the same is true here.
I'll go to the super chats in a minute, but Michael's literally just said, could we not let Burnham have the seat in return for electoral reform and his endorsement for mayor? And I think it's a fair question, and I think most people would agree that despite his faults,
do that.
Andy Burnham would definitely be a better option for Prime Minister right now than what we've got. Certainly better than Wes Streeting.
But he would never endorse a Green mayor, would he?
But he probably wouldn't. But also on the flip side of that, like I think I said this on Monday, I'm sick and tired of this idea that Burnham has some divine right to be Prime Minister. It's ignorant toward The people if it is Manchester Rusholme, and bear in mind this is what's been reported this evening. They may decide something else tomorrow in the days that follow. Anything can happen, especially at the moment with how quick things are changing. But to turn to the electorate and basically say, oh, by the way, your MP is gonna resign so that you will elect Andy Burnham, like the arrogance of that is just off the charts. And I think there is an argument to be had to the Green Party to say, for the sake of the country, don't fight against Andy Burnham. Let him come along, because if he does get in, even if he doesn't become Prime Minister next week, if this is too late, if there has to be somebody else in between, if Andy Burnham gets back into Parliament, I think it's inevitable that he will be Prime Minister at some point over the next few years. Yeah. But at the same time, people are sick and tired, and the electorate are getting sick and tired of having to vote tactically for the lesser of two evils. If there is a party there that are offering them what they want, and they are standing a candidate that is saying they're going to give them what they want, and they believe in that candidate, why shouldn't the people of Manchester Rusholme, or whatever place he chooses to stand, vote for the Green Party over Andy Burnham? In the long run, will that be great for the country? Well, perhaps not, but that's the fault of the fucking Labour Party. Because they've made themselves unelectable. That's not the Green Party's fault. Of course the Greens are going to put up a fight.
Cook.
I don't think it's even about for the sake of the country. I just wonder if it's a political calculation strategy. Like, look, here's the thing. The two facts are, in Gorton and Denton, there were lots and lots of Labour voters who went to the Greens because Andy didn't stand. Yeah. Now, there is a question that the Greens could have clinched it because it was such a big majority. I think I'm probably on Kev's side here that I think Andy would have won it.
Yeah.
So, now obviously the Greens have started briefing against Andy Burnham, as is their right. They're not they're not the Labour Party, and plus he's got a bad track record on things, so they should be allowed to do that. But my worry in terms of strategy is, given the fact that there's floating people between Labour and the Greens, and these people, like Andy Burnham, might be really pissed off at the Greens that they're going for Andy Burnham. So one could say, actually, it doesn't work for the Greens strategy if they were to go all out on Andy Burnham. Having said that, though, the Labour Party, in my view, any progressive out there should not be voting for the Labour Party. They do not deserve your vote. Plus, as Kevin said earlier, whether or not Andy Burnham has truly changed into a centre-left social democratic figure, it's the Labour machinations behind him. So he could be like, "Oh, I'm very sincere about public ownership. I support wealth taxes." Like, I think he's been on record and said these things. It doesn't really matter whether he supports it or not, because he's got a political party that's funded by corporate donors that do not want those policies. Yeah. So for the good of the country, the Greens would need to win that seat. Yeah. But I think you've got a toss-up between, actually, it's better to have a Green MP there. I just think, but better for politics. But would that really look bad on the Greens, given the fact that they're kind of like saying, "Oh, I know you like Andy Burnham, and we want you to vote for us, but we're now going to trust this guy who you probably like," who in many scenarios would prefer Andy Burnham than a Green MP.
Well, exactly. It's interesting because... sorry, Kev, go on.
I was just going to say, yeah, in terms of him getting his policies through, he's still going to have to get, like, Luke Akehurst to vote for public ownership.
Exactly, that ain't gonna fuck happen, is it?
There's a couple of issues though, and we'll move on to super chats. Actually, Leo's sent £2 and said, "Can we prioritise trans rights over one Green MP?" I mean, there is an argument here that it does depend on timing, right? But let's say Wes Streeting calls a leadership challenge tomorrow. He gets the 81. That then sets the cogs in motion for that. Then let's say Khan resigns in the afternoon, and Andy Burnham then decides he's going to resign as mayor of Manchester, triggering those by-elections. We've got to firstly know whether or not the time that will have to be put aside for the by-election will match up with the time for the leadership in time for Andy Burnham to get elected and then stand. Because bear in mind, Andy Burnham wouldn't be able to put his name in the hat to even stand to be Labour leader if he's not already elected as an MP. And that's going to at least take 6 weeks, right? Surely, for a by-election, if there was a resignation tomorrow. It's not going to happen overnight. So you've got to think about that in terms of whether it would even be possible to get Andy Burnham in. But let's say that it doesn't necessarily happen straight away, and there's a bit of time in between, and Burnham is able to stand and would be able to stand to be leader. The alternative to Andy Burnham right now does appear to be Wes Streeting, who is famous for decimating trans rights in this country as a Labour Health Secretary. The other side of this is if Labour don't get their shit together, the chances of Nigel Farage becoming the next Prime Minister are even more and more likely than they would have otherwise been. Again, a party that is well known to be anything other than an advocate for members of the LGBT community. So on that issue alone, forgetting everything else for a minute that would be equally terrible, I think Leo makes the right point, a good point there. If the Green Party do fight and go all out to win, as the source tonight has told me would be the case if it was in this particular seat, it could be argued, could it not, that the Greens are actually, throwing away trans rights and the rights of many others for the sake of an extra MP.
I mean, I'm a bit confused about the comment. Is Leo saying if the Greens try and fight half that seat, they may allow in the Reform Party? Is that what you mean by prioritising?
Or Wes Streeting, right?
Wes Streeting, yeah. I think I don't wish to speak on Leo's behalf, but I think the calculation that the question poses is, if we block Andy Burnham by winning the seat in Russia, Wes Streeting becomes Prime Minister.
Oh, okay.
A noted trans vote.
I completely get that.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, if that was put to me, I would absolutely support Andy Burnham becoming Prime Minister, if not just to protect trans people. Now, to be fair, that's not a foregone conclusion, because again, Andy Burnham is also against the Labour machine, and we don't know if Andy Burnham would melt on trans rights. Like, I think he's... I'm pretty sure he's a social progressive, but I don't know how staunch he is. There's also that to remember.
Well, exactly. There's a lot of things to bear in mind. Firstly, like, Obviously, trans rights are a priority, especially given that the report that was released today showed that Britain had slipped to 22nd overall in Europe for LGBT rights, which is truly fucking rancid. But regardless of that, there are other issues at play. Like, for instance, he did vote for the Iraq War. So is he just the same old fucking, trilateral commission Blairite piece of shit? He didn't speak out particularly full-throatedly in defence of the Palestinian people. He hasn't really spoken out massively against the Labour Party's own transphobia. Now, again, I don't think he is necessarily a transphobe, but if at the very least he's happy to be passively accepting of it, then I don't see him as a massive step forward, given all of those other pieces of baggage with it. Now, I can perfectly well see the argument from both sides, and I'm not actually going to I'm going to sit on the fence on this one. I can happily accept the Green Party running in this seat and trying to win it. Although you do allow, of course, the possibility that you split the vote and maybe a third party gets in. That's a terrible idea. Or the idea of stepping aside and doing a pact with him and saying, okay, he's not going to endorse a Green candidate for the mayoralty, but tell him we want proportional representation in the Parliament, or at least some preferred vote system like they have in maybe in Wales or Scotland or something. Some genuine alternative. Because if we want to protect from a reform government next time round, the only way you do that, I think, at this point, is either a miracle or genuine electoral reform.
I do think we'll get that if Burnham got in, because Burnham has been he's one of the only MPs who's been an advocate of this, Labour MPs who's been an advocate of this before it was cool for
But he
MPs
has
to be an
advocated for
advocate of
PR.
it. And to my knowledge, he is still in favour of it. So, you know.
But the thing is, though, I don't want to doubt his sincerity on PR, but not gonna lie, as a guy who has flip-flopped a lot, I'm going to. It is also so easy, just a quick point, it's so easy to say you support PR until you get into power. I mean, as we were discussing the other day, how Farage and Reform are like, we love PR. Now they don't talk about it because they could win under the first past the post. So if you get to be Labour Prime Minister, you might be like, yeah.
And in terms of, generally, in terms of constitutional reform, loads of people have entered the Houses of Parliament wanting to, say, get rid of the House of Lords. And then they realise that it's a self-protection racket. That there are systems in place to grind you down and ruin any opportunity to fundamentally change it. Like, they'll accept some changes, like getting rid of hereditary peers, but that doesn't mean you get rid of peers. It just means they have another system of patronage that comes from other than heredity to
so I'm also
stack it. Yeah?
I'm also hearing just now, and this is from the same.
I'm sorry. Are all of these places from a Dickens novel? Rusholme and Withington.
But this comes from the same Green Party source that is saying that seat would be doable for the Greens, but certainly more difficult. Yeah. And I think this is the thing, is that, you know, Burnham's also going to be paying attention to where he stands a chance, especially if he thinks there's going to be a fight from the Greens. But
also,
I mean,
how many lemmings are there prepared to fall on their sword? They got elected 2 years ago, and they're like, look, what are they being offered? What inducement are these bastards being offered to stand aside?
There was a brilliant moment on one of the morning media rounds the other day where a Labour MP in Merseyside was asked, I can't remember what channel it was, but she was asked, you know, what do you want to happen? And she was like, well, somebody needs to stand down to let Burnham stand. And then the reporter said, okay, well, would you've got a safe Labour seat, would you be willing to give up your seat? And without missing a beat, she just went, no.
Yeah.
It's like, not a chance. So I mean, there are some that won't. But listen, we've got so many comments to get through. Sticking with Leo and on this topic, actually, Leo donated £5 at the top of the show and said, guys, it's over. Keir said he has full confidence in Wes. You know what that means. He won't be a minister by the end of tomorrow.
I did find that funny, though.
Just like he had full confidence in Sue Gray, she went. He had full confidence in Mandelson, he went. Yeah, it's the kiss of death. Yeah,
it's very much the confidence in himself.
It's very much the Judas kissing Jesus on the cheek of politics.
The only reason he hasn't gone today is because of the King's speech. I understand there was a mutual agreement that they wouldn't shit all over each other until tomorrow. So,
well, not just that, but just in terms of the country, like, it would be ridiculous game playing to resign just before the opening of Parliament.
Well, you say that, but the thing is that it's Buckingham Palace were reportedly asking literally yesterday, number 10, is there any point in the king's speech even going ahead? Because the palace sources said that that the king was essentially saying that we don't want to get involved in any politics. We don't want to get involved in this, whatever this is that's going on. So should the speech actually go ahead, or is it worth postponing it?
Well,
and
look,
let's go ahead, but they cut it right down.
We are a very sensible country. We needed to have the man that came out of the right set of penis and ovaries to sit on a throne with his golden hat and tell us all about how we need to tighten our belts.
Oh, I know. It's
a golden hat that weighs about the same as 2 bags of sugar.
And a man called Black Rod needs to bang on a door thrice in order to be allowed in.
I hadn't realised that Black Rod had changed. It used to be. Oh God, what was it? Sarah, somebody, I think.
Well, there was that, and then we did actually
taking boundaries here.
Oh yeah,
it was Sarah. It was Sarah Clark until recently. I saw this fella today, and I was like, "Who's that? Where's the woman gone?" But yeah, she resigned last year apparently.
That's that's such useless facts. That's such useless facts you'd know, and something I would have no idea.
Listen. I absolutely hate it all because it's so outdated, and I think we should do away with it.
Well,
but I love watching it.
Yeah.
I think it's ridiculous.
Brilliantly,
it needs abolished, but I'm fascinated by the whole thing.
But brilliantly, did you see that fucking David Lammy, the genocider in chief, decided to make it more old school by bringing back one tradition, which was when he gives the speech, he goes with an ermine sack to give the speech to the king, who then reads it out, and then traditionally they walk backwards because you can't turn your back on a king. And most people went, well, that's really dangerous. People fall over and hurt themselves. So they changed that. But he brought it back today and decided to walk down the steps backwards.
But did you see him just when he went to kneel down though?
He nearly fell over.
Did you see him tripping?
Yeah, he nearly fell over
on the step.
Oh Jesus! Honestly, it would have been so funny if he'd slipped over and broke his neck and died.
My favourite bit was when,
and that's why I can't be comms leader for any political party.
My favourite bit was when Black Rod knocked on, when they close the door and they don't let Black Rod in, and Black Rod knocks on the door 3 times.
So weird.
And a Labour MP shouted, "Not now, Andy."
Okay. Look, I don't want to encourage heckling because hecklers are wankers, but that is look. If you're gonna heckle, it has to be at that level. Okay.
It used to be.
Dennis Skinner.
Dennis Skinner beats the balls over every single time. He used to make a good quip.
Right, listen, we've got to get through some of these comments, otherwise we'll never finish tonight. So, Michael gifted 1 turn left membership. Thank you, Michael, for that. Curtis Dharma sent £2 and said no surrender.
Put your moustache on him. Yes, I approve of this slander.
He looks good.
Curtis Dharma also said,
my God,
said, don't support turn left, support my new turn off.
No, support
fucking name right at least.
Support turn bent.
We also had a 50 turn left memberships gifted that I was asked not to show, which I'm not going to show because I was asked not to.
Now you got to show it.
Was it George Soros?
It's fucking. I saw it. It's Curtis. It's
anonymous. You've thrown him in it.
I'm sorry. He's got to come up.
You've just got him in trouble with his missus, Curtis.
He's just compared me to fucking Keir Starmer with a moustache.
Fair. Curtis Dharma, 50 turn left memberships.
You're a wrong one. You're a wrong one.
Well, listen,
I was angry with you now. But also thank you for the 50 turn left memberships.
But we won't get any more now because he'll have his credit card taken off him. So, well done for that one.
That's fucking slander. That's worse than Jeremy Beadle, I think.
We've had.
Don't. Why have you said that? Don't try and
fucking. Jeremy Beadle.
Don't try and throw it at me.
Died. Keir Starmer as Prime Minister.
He's dead. He's dead inside. Okay.
Exactly, he's dead inside.
He's dead inside. Oh well, actually, that's not the only one that we've had tonight. There was. Where is it? Just while we brought it up, let me find it for you, Kev.
So it's slander of me now, okay? Jeremy Beadle, fucking.
Ellie Chickpea said, has the Philip Seymour Hoffman similarity been pointed out before? My 16-year-old noticed it when he saw Kevin. I agree.
What?
What fat, dead, bloated cokehead? Thanks. Yeah, thank you.
He's a good actor, to be fair.
There was a superb actor who's fucking dead of a drug overdose. Thank you. Are there any live people I look like?
Kev, you look like you.
Yeah, I know that. That's another insult.
Ollie's come in now. Fire. Ollie's come in with the beetle.
Oh, I'll come back with that in a minute. Specs has sent £5 and said, we usually hang out in the Discord voice chat after the show. All are welcome to come hang out. We have a blast. Can a mod please post a Discord link? I think somebody may have found a link to post. I know
it was lovely
people were
speaking with you,
looking for
Specs,
it.
during the week. I was on a thing with Specs. He was a good lad.
Apparently you've missed one.
I've missed quite a few. I've not done with them yet. Oh yeah, Ollie said.
Suck my dick.
Beetle full stop.
Suck my dick.
So
Suck my dick.
With the full
Suck my
stop
dick.
though, it's so harsh. It's like beetle.
Suck my dick. Suck my dick.
Well, we got some Kevin love. So Hanu Candlelit has sent £10 and said, "I love
you
Kevin
too,
love.
Han. Love ya. Let's go."
Love Kevin Logan. Just that's it. That's a comment.
I didn't do that. That isn't me, secretly.
Not really. Rachel Atwood has sent $2 and said, "Is Habib's dad's boot still up in there?"
yeah.
The word "in" makes that sentence so much worse.
It's still
really.
up in there. All up in your grill.
Yeah,
because it's like, what it? Benny was like, I wasn't born with silver spoon in my mouth. I was born with my dad's boot up my bum. I'm like, that's weird.
Terry,
exactly. I wasn't privileged. My dad was actually very physically abusive.
So that's better.
Terry, the same ass.
100%.
True. Although I will say, de-Yankified's arse.
So this comment alludes to what Kev was talking about. Co-ops has sent £19.99.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. And said, I want to know how Zach's council tax info got in the public domain. If not via a CCJ, council tax use magistrates' orders mostly, then I would ask the council. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't have. There we go.
Yeah.
I want to know how Zach's council tax info got into the public domain. If not via CCJ,
that's county court judgment.
Yes, council tax use magistrates order mostly. Excuse me. Then I would ask the council how this got out under GDPR. I'd have it investigated.
Someone could be in very, very big trouble.
Yeah. It can't be a CCJ because that would be literally public knowledge, and he wasn't even charged. So how would have a judgment against him?
CCJ shows that like you're in trouble, and it's like a warning, isn't it? Or
I think it's guesswork based on confession, and I'll tell you for why. Because when this story first broke, there was a whole big thing about he's got a boat, and I bet he hasn't paid the right council tax. There's questions to be asked there.
Maybe.
And then a Green Party spokesperson or somebody on behalf of the Green Party got back and basically said that he didn't have to pay council tax because it was.
That's a rookie.
If
that's the case, that's a rookie error.
Well, I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but it was basically to say they said that he only stays there occasionally, so council tax wouldn't be eligible because if it's not a permanent residence and it's a leisure moor, and you wouldn't pay the council tax on it. In fact, others have attested to that. However, that has then led them to go, well, did he only stay there occasionally, or did he stay there longer? Which is how the whole investigation of the laundry thing came about, where he then came out and said, oh, well, actually, he's getting his quite a lot of laundry done that would suggest been staying there.
Every 2 to 3 weeks, though. I mean.
So it is possible that it wasn't leaked at all, and that they just guessed. It wouldn't be the first time that people within the. I'm trying to think how to word this without. It wouldn't be the first time that people within the Green Party have had allegations made about the tax purposes when it comes to properties without any grounds to actually suggest that what they're saying is true. It's like they throw a bit of mud and they see whether it sticks or not. And in this case, it looks like it may have done, although it does look like now the council is saying that he may not even know it. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out with this. Anyway, Subsystem Vids has sent £5 and says, I bought the Big Turn Left mug, and now I only drink 6 cups of coffee a day and don't sleep at night. Love Turn Left. Support, subscribe, apologise.
Do you think that's apologise or not apologise? Also, I didn't realise that, like...
I think that's apologise for the fact they now drink 6 cups of coffee a day.
I didn't realize apparently you can buy really big Turn Left mugs. And they're like huge. I think they're like the Sports Direct size.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, also, but look, When's the Kev getting some complimentary merch? What's going on here? What's happening? I've got to get a t-shirt. Come on.
When all five of us have got our merch, I'm still waiting on mine arriving.
I keep forgetting to send it to people.
And I keep saying we need pins. I'm just throwing that out there. That's what we need. And it's one thing we haven't got on the website.
We can crowdfund Kevin Turn Bent t-shirt.
Yes. Fuck yes.
We'll do it. Will we not have to? We'll take legal action for copyright infringement with that, though, if it's our logo. But
it's a gift.
Flow Snake said, breaking news. Once the tumble dryer was still going from a previous user, and Zach just stuck his wet clothes in without leaving an extra 50 pence in an envelope for the laundrette owner.
Scum.
Yeah,
scum.
Exactly.
It's not fit to be Prime Minister.
Freeloader is what it is. You know what? And I bet he didn't declare it in his members' interests. Disgusting.
It's fucking scum.
On the question of laundrettes, though, Becca has said, "Oh, Curtis, you're such a clean man. Look at that shirt, so white, so bright." And then Becca says, "When I was a single woman, I'd do 2 loads a week."
Well, that's proving my point, then, isn't it? Because every 2 to 3 weeks is
Okay, you can't. Oh God, no! I'm not going to do the joke. I'm not. I'm better than that.
No, you're not better than that. You're actually categorically not.
Okay, as a single man, I used to get through loads and loads every week as well.
Oh my God. Make this man Green Party leader.
On the same laundrette topic and the canal boat, Paul King has said, interesting thoughts on this one. My parents lived on a canal boat for 4 or 5 years and paid no council tax, but think you're supposed to move it every 2 weeks or you'll need to pay. Zach is making a few too many mistakes. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, you've got to be. I think he is a little bit like you've got to be. Just.
But honestly,
clean.
all you need to do is stop apologising, really.
I mean, yeah, definitely
because
stop
they're gonna muckrake to the point of like searching through your dirty skiddies to try and fucking find out how often you do laundry. Like they're obviously gonna try and attack you. Don't accept the narrative. Don't accept the framing of it. Stick to the message. It's working. Yeah. Stick to the message.
Let me have a look. Oh God, we've got loads. We could be here all night. Co-ops has also said, I can't stand the private sector. He is a massive turd.
He loves that health insurance money.
He does. He does.
Terry has also said Burnham should replace Lucy Powell instead in Manchester Central. Well, again, Manchester Central is another place where the Green Party would absolutely fight to win because they've just completely walked the floor in the local elections there.
And also, Lucy Powell's a right winger. She's not going to step aside for him.
Well, there is rumours that she would rather be the mayor of Manchester, and I suppose if her
she wouldn't win. I don't think she'd win.
If her stepping down means there's going to be a by-election, she'd certainly want to put a hat in the ring, though. Whether she'd even be selected or not, it's a whole.
Well, I don't think they'll win that mayoral.
Michael said yes and no. This was on whether the Burnham would be the Greens. I think the Greens would struggle to grow more with Burnham, but I don't think they would lose support. So they might sort of plateau out where they are.
Maybe, yeah. I definitely think it will make it very difficult for the Greens.
Just something else from Leo, just worth pointing out. Anyone else see Katie Hopkins being publicly humiliated by Zara Sultana?
Base Zara Sultana.
Yeah, if you're on X, go to Katie Hopkins' account and retweet the apology, just because she's obviously not happy. She's had to post that on her Twitter. Interesting one from Evil Uncle
So is that
Phil.
Katie Hopkins took time out from fucking married men in a field to be humiliated by Zara Sultana?
Yes.
Yes, she did.
Okay,
yeah.
Good.
So this one from Evil Uncle Phil has said, Habib's saying this only because they rejected him. I wonder why he didn't before.
I think it's probably could be similar to what happened with Rupert Lowe, right?
Yeah.
He's personally pissed off.
Also, he's really annoyed that Farage wouldn't share the booty with him.
But he goes on actually, Evil Uncle Phil, and says they keep buying elections, the right, and the mainstream media are more fixated on Zach Polanski living in a shared house. It is frustrating, isn't it?
True.
This one from Oliver made me laugh. There was an old lady who lived in a shoe, but because of economic uncertainty, she now unfortunately lives in a boot inside her baby.
Oh, talk about living on Skid Row. Oh.
firms.
Yes. More coffee, more work. We love it. Let's make bigger turn left mugs. It's like the size of a human body.
Hang on, why are you referring to Callum and Curtis as mugs? What's going on there? You're out of order.
I mean, what can we say?
That was so uncalled for.
Exactly.
We've been so nice to you. You just
we're going to cancel you for that.
throw shade like that.
Yeah. You're not coming back.
650 seats to the green.
Listen, I'm gonna
650 seat landslide.
I'm gonna bring it. So right, I'm a sucker for punishment. So Paul King's just made another comment. We all make mistakes, but don't all lie about representing the Red Cross. Was going to vote Green, but having second thoughts, as will others. Seems the Greens might not. Seems the Greens might also need a new leader pretty soon. A couple of things just on that. The Green Party will. It seems. It looks. Just hang on, Kev. It looks like the Green Party are having leadership elections this summer again, because they didn't get cancelled from last year because they were supposed to be every 2 years, and there was a bit of a internal Green Party stuff. So I mean, there probably will be Green Party leaders anyway. The Red Cross thing is just silly though, because he stood on stage and he spoke. He emceed official Red Cross charity events on behalf of the Red Cross and spoke for them during that time. So. He was in everything but official name. He was a spokesperson, right? If you're having second thoughts on voting Green because of that,
Cal, I do have to interrupt you. You're doing a very good job of explaining this sincerely and properly, and that's all well and good. But this guy's a melter. There's no need. Do one, bruv. You're full of shit. In the same way that Labour MPs
be Green Party leader, because this is how you convince people to vote.
Labour MPs today who've gone on the press and said, I've been contacted by hundreds of my constituents telling me they like Keir Starmer and want him to remain as Prime. You're a liar. You're a liar. That didn't happen. You're full of shit. You are not a Green Party supporter. You're some sort of fucking carpet-bagging piece of shit who's decided to come on here as a right-wing loser. I don't care what you have to say.
He absolutely
got any of his source. Did you get really upset there, Kevin, that you had to have a timeout?
No, I froze.
Well,
I don't know why.
Curtis
I was in the middle of a fantastic rant there about what a melter Paul was. Cunt. Fuck off. Go on.
I'm trying to be a little more polite to our viewers, Kevin.
Well, no, but the thing is, right, the reviewers who will come back and watch you time and time again, this guy was a loser. Don't bother interacting.
He could have been. You never know. He could have dropped like a oneer. You know.
Nah, full of shit. He was a cunt.
That's so hard. Kevin, naughty.
I'm here to tell the truth, okay? I'm here to tell the truth, unvarnished.
Anyone that comments on our videos helps push our content out to other people, so we're grateful for that. And we'll leave that one about there. Although it is interesting, isn't it? What will make people go from maybe voting Green to not voting Green? You know, like leaving doors open.
He's never gonna give it up. Oh God! But I cannot wait to see what happens tomorrow. We may see our very first instance of briefcase-on-briefcase violence. It's going to be fun.
Briefcase-on-briefcase violence, and it's not violent, is it?
For what it's worth, though, because for what it's worth, and I am still engaging with Paul, who's just said won't vote for liars. It's a dark path. Johnson and Starmer also lied. For what it's worth, Zach hasn't actually lied.
Yeah, he's not lying. I mean, that's just over.
They've taken, you know, it's that whole thing. It's that whole.
Well, you're a wanker, Paul. Fuck off.
No, but it is that whole thing of you know, well.
I'm not voting for a liar. I'm going to vote for the best mate of a pedo instead. Fuck off.
You're not a spokesperson. You just spoke for them, right? It's that whole like. It's just a bit silly, really. You know.
Look, if you're going to nitpick that badly, then you're never going to find anyone to vote for. Because I'm sorry, but like fucking Jesus Christ is not standing for election in Norwich South.
He might
You
be.
just behave yourself. You're dealing with human beings, some of whom might have bullshitted on a CV once. Who cares? Oh, you know what? I used to say I was fucking trained in tap dance. I couldn't tap dance. I just needed to fill out a fucking CV, but you can't.
What did you need to be able to tap dance for? What was that job?
Well, no, specifically knowing that I was going for jobs that had nothing to do with it, thinking it beefs out the thing, it makes it look like you've got outside pursuits and stuff. Because I had nothing. Sitting around smoking weed, playing FIFA is not a fucking like extracurricular activity.
I'd love to see tap dance.
Oh well, it's
Right, anyway,
always,
it's
Well,
always
I,
a pleasure,
I used to
isn't it?
be I used to be thin enough that was a plausible lie.
It is 9:10, and I've got to eat my dinner. That was a hell of a rant from Kevin and Paul. It's Kevin versus Paul. We just had a fight between a comment and one of our guests. It was very funny.
All I'm going to say is I'm resigning as the host, and I'm going to stand against him in the leadership election. Okay.
Paul versus Kevin. Any by-election of your choosing.
Let's go.
I mean, neither of you would get fucking 10 votes, to be fair. And I think I'm inclined to vote for Paul just to piss you off. It'd be fun,
No,
wouldn't it?
that's for well, you're a melter as well.
Well,
Yeah.
can I referee this then? Can I be the guy in the middle?
No, you're a melter. I'm taking all of you fuckers on. I'm swinging wild.
Right. Well, in which case then, I'm off. See you later.
Thank you so much. That was a wild and funny comment section. Kevin, excellent as always.
Thank
Excellent
you.
as always.
Thank you very much. It was lovely to be here.
It's so lovely to have you on. You lift my spirits. We go through the political stories. They're so sad, and then Kevin calls one of our viewers a cunt, and it's just.
Well, to be fair though, right? Show me the lie.
We love it. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on again. Thank you to all of our viewers who tuned in, and again, thank you to all of our donations. Remember, you can support us by going to turnleftmedia.co.uk/support. There's a link to a Patreon. There's a link to a one-off donation. Of course, you can become a YouTube member for just 99p. If you want some of this merch as well, and our like extra large mugs, the Sports Direct Turn Left mugs, they go to shop.turnleftmedia.co.uk. Remember, we go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 p.m. You've been watching Normal Ireland's Live. I'm Curtis Daly, and I'll see you next time.
Don't worry,
Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler.
Fucking so fun. Okay, I can't.
Well, he is. Don't you fucking
Of
know.
course he is. He was there to stir shit, but
Well, exactly.
I always like bringing the troll comments up. We're trying to be nice.
Well, you can, right? I'm not here to polish turds.
True.
Very true.
Oh man, that was so good. That was so good. You love to fucking see it.
And I love the internet's so lovely because it gives you the freedom to just call someone a cunt knowing you're not going to get stabbed.
And no repercussions. Yeah.
It's lovely.
I bet he's fucking hard as well.
Can we clip that and put it out with lefties crash out in debate?
Yeah,
arguments?
so much for the tolerant left.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, there you go. That'll
The
work.
kind of gender politics, is it? Oh god. Right, I need to go and eat my dinner, but that was fucking hilarious. Thank you,
everyone.
Great show.
See y'all later.
Assuming I haven't driven everyone away, I will see you next time.
Yeah, we've got one viewer next time.
To blame.
Bye.
Bye.
See you later, Kev.
Bye-bye. Oh. Fuck yes. I love getting to call Maltas to their face. Oh, fuck yes. Oh, my ears are sweaty. Oh. I wasn't out of order with Paul, was I? I think I read that right. I think so. I don't know. Maybe I will get stabbed up. Anyway, the audio is still on. No, I muted myself when I was doing the Adolf Hitler song, which, by the way, is a regular thing I do, based on an old piece of footage they used to have of Jeremy Corbyn. It works. Old heads know. The streets never forget. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mute myself for them so they can't hear me singing the Adolf Hitler song. You still can, because I haven't muted my microphone. I mute myself in that room. Anyway, doesn't matter. Oh. Right. I'm going to leave now and think about what I've done here tonight and laugh my bollocks off now. And think about what I've done here tonight. That's why... No, I don't need to hear myself back, thank you, Twitch. I don't know why you've decided to do that. You fucking maltoid. Right. On YouTube, let's see who's going. Kev, go see Katie Hopkins' post right now. Oh, God. Okay. What does she say? Katie Hopkins... No, not Hopkins. Her surname begins with a H. Or an H, whatever. Katie Hopknoids. On behalf of their client, Zara Sultana, Bindman's Media and Information Law Practice Group requires that I publish the following statement on X, and that such statement must be clearly visible and pinned on my profile for a continuous period of no less than 24 hours. Quote, on the 30th of March 2026, I published a post on my X account addressed to Zara Sultana in which I stated that she encourages and incites violence and is friends with terrorists. Those statements are false. I was wrong and offer my sincere apologies to Ms. Sultana for the harm and distress caused to her. Unquote. It is my very great pleasure to do this, and I reiterate my sincere and repeated offer to meet with Ms. Sultana in person to resolve our differences. You love to see it, chat. You love to see it. And on that Katie Hopkins bombshell, I'm gonna raid everyone into someone else. Who is going on? Oh, Binmans are good. They do pro bono stuff. Oh, that's cool. Although she's an MP, she can probably afford a lawyer, but fair enough, whatever. Oh, I'll send you into No Justice of the MTGs, who seems to be going on the on YouTube. Enjoy. And on Twitch.tv, I will send everybody over to DJ Mule, who is was going. Are they still there? They are. Yeah, and I'll see you tomorrow for what should be a lively situation where we have day 3 of Resignation Watch, of Lettuce Watch 2026. Fun times. Thank you all for your support. Thank you for listening and watching. Thank you for being fucking awesome people. Free Palestine. Free Wes Streeting. I certainly wouldn't pay for him. Free Scotland, free Wales, free Ireland, free everywhere. Free fucking everywhere. No passing around.